Let's kick it off with these growth targets here so far. I mean, we've heard this around 6.5% before. How do you think the premier is going to strike a balance here today between growth as well as financial reform?
Well, I think the emphasis of this year is going to be on the high-quality growth. So in that regard, I think there are three aspects that they're going to work very hard on. One is to prevent systematic financial risks. The second is poverty relief. And the third is environmental protection. And all three is probably suggesting a slower than last year growth target. So I think the 6.5 is, I think, meaning more to 6.5 than 6.5 and higher compared to 2017. And in that regard, I think before financial reform, we're going to see increasing effort.
Go ahead, Tom.
Ning, carry on, please.
Oh, no, I'm just going to add that, well, the efforts to trying to contain...
Tom, go ahead.
Okay, Ning, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to add that, well, in the efforts to contain leverage, we'll have to see some of the deleveraging efforts, and that's going to have some constraining on the speed of the growth.
All right. I want to talk a little bit more, though, Ning, on some of the other aspects here. You know, we continue to hear President Trump, and he recently just tweeted only a few minutes ago about how the U.S. has been on the losing side of trade deals for so long. Meanwhile, you've got China coming out and exploring establishment of a free trade port. They're actively boosting imports in 2018. How is this going to affect, in your view, U.S.-China relations and also China's economic growth, them hitting economic growth targets?
I think that could be the single most important uncertainty for China's economic growth in 2018. I think the overall global economic recovery is quite promising, but then I think the tension between China and the U.S. trade, and maybe in the broader range of issues, is really adding some uncertainties to China's economic growth. In some sense, I think the problem has been there for a long time, so it will not be able to resolve them in overnight. But on the other hand, I think communication and negotiations are really necessary and important in this particular period of time. With the tapering off of the quantitative easing, I think it's going to create systematic uncertainties for all emerging economies. So it's not just China's problem. It's going to be a broader rebalancing between the developed and the emerging economies.